Hello, and welcome to the Grow Better Together podcast.
Yes.
Yes. If you're going to go through it, grow through it. Yes. Easier said than done.
Yes.
Yes. But we're going to hopefully help teach how to do that. Kind of through our experiences.
Yes. Definitely some trials and errors, I guess.
Yes. Eventually, we can't do anything about the trials, but we can do a lot less errors. How about that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so today's episode is actually the first one.
Very first.
Yes, and this
on
is an
Valentine's
introduction.
Day.
Yeah, I love you. Give me a kiss. Now we just made everybody throw
Everyone's nauseous.
Okay, so today is our first podcast, and we want to explain a little bit about why we thought the podcast was helpful, and then just give an introduction to ourselves, so you can learn a little bit more about our history and where we're coming from this.
Right.
And then we'll talk about some future podcast ideas.
Oh, their relationship is so cute. They had such a great life, and it's like, don't.
Yes. Hopefully they're thinking that part. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and then also we'll kind of show all the underlying stuff. Yeah. Okay. So yes, but basically why we wanted to do this was we wanted to give life advice. So I've been a personal trainer for 19 years, and I've worked with way over 2,000 people. I just stopped counting my client list at 2,000 because it sounded good enough. And I've taught at the university level for 7.5 years, had over 500 students. So I've dealt with a lot of people, and as a personal trainer, you get into a lot of topics other than just training and nutrition. You get into all of the emotional things that go behind whether somebody can follow a diet, whether they want to follow a diet, what are the self-sabotaging reasons they can't.
Or what are the motivations for even going to the gym? Is it for themselves? Is it for a partner? Is it for something else?
Yes. So there's a lot about just kind of interpersonal relationship, like interpersonal communication, so that I've had to learn and deal with. And I thought that what I would know would be contributing beneficial to this podcast, and then you are amazing, so you have tons of knowledge. Yes. So you want to tell a little bit about what you're doing?
A little bit about myself?
Yeah, like a little bit about you have to talk about grad school.
Well, yeah. So, okay, so I made a huge career switch about 5 or 6, probably 6 years ago. What was it? So I was teaching high school sciences, honors, and AP, bio, and chem, and you name it.
She's a smart pants.
Yeah. So, taught for about, I think it was almost 9 years. Or 7 years? 7 years, and I just finally said I needed something different. It was so, the politics and the entitlement, and I loved so many of my students. It's sad when it eventually boils down to just administration and parents, and I needed to do something different.
Yeah, it's something you hear a lot from teachers, and unfortunately it's true.
But oh my gosh, watching those, I mean, teaching high schoolers, and seniors nonetheless, where you watch the relationships with each other, the cliques, in groups, the boyfriends, the girlfriends,
oh my gosh,
it was just like,
chaos.
oh my god, and it's, you so badly want to say, trust me, please, for the love of God, trust me. It's not always going to be like this.
Yes.
So, a lot learned there, and then switched. I also decided, apparently, to switch careers, and also, I was also going through separation, and then a divorce, and I had 3 jobs, because I felt like I was just going from job to job, looking for a little more money to support myself, because I was on my own, and it was terrifying, and family wasn't talking to me, some family, you know, and just, it was such a stressful time. I feel like my career and my ambition, like everything didn't really level out until like 2018, 19 probably.
Yeah, you went through a long road, like very difficult.
So long, so hard, so many stories, but we'll probably touch on a lot of those
over the course of the podcast. Individual topics,
But yeah, so, you know, it's awesome. You can say you were a personal trainer for 19 years, and I just say, well, I bounced around for a bit.
Yeah, well, but to clarify, you've grown through significantly. So you're in such a better place now financially, emotionally, communication-wise, relationship-wise, hopefully. So, but you didn't bounce around aimlessly.
No, it was always intentional.
Up.
It was intentional because not the problem, but it was so much like I didn't feel like my voice was heard. I didn't feel appreciated. I didn't feel like I was valued. So I kept trying to find areas where I was, and it's so interesting to me that that's a downside. Like, people look at that as, you go for an interview and it's, why does your resume look like this?
Yeah, well,
you don't get
three different jobs in the last 3 years.
You don't get jobs because how do you say I was fighting for my life for 2 years?
Yeah,
like, how do you say that?
And you fucked up. You were better every single step you took along the way. You made financially more money, and like you had more significance in what you were doing. So even if it wasn't for the money, you started to have a voice. You started to be able to make a difference in companies.
And
you started to be able to do what you wanted.
One thing I can say that I have done, similar to your like long stretch, no matter where I was, I would look at something and try and improve it. I've created programs. I've created YouTube series. I've created, just
You've done
you
that
name
in my
it.
business. You've done that with the gym. Yeah, like our business now that we're married. Yeah. But yeah, you've made a huge difference. Everywhere you go, the people around you grow. Yeah. Yes. Well, I know that just rhymes. That means it's definitely true. But that's a huge part as to why you being in this podcast, in this subject matter, like, we're living it. Yeah. We're living in it, and we're growing through it. So we're wanting to then share, okay, well, these are the things that have helped for me. Yeah. These are the things that I've told clients, I've told friends that help them. So we just want to share it to an even broader audience.
Yes. Very, very true.
Yeah.
There's too much. I've gone through too much crap to not have someone or something benefit.
Yeah, somebody else has to help.
Someone better listen and just learn and don't do this. Yeah.
Well, how true is that, though? Like, if you can help others, like, if your struggle can somehow help other people, that motivates you, that strengthens you. It gives more of a purpose to the pain.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
So very good point.
That's definitely what we're wanting to do with this podcast, is really share. Like you said, like, we've struggled, we've gone through things, we've been around people who've struggled and gone through things, and every time, and I think we all would know this, is if you can save someone from a pain that you're familiar with, how good does that feel?
It's amazing.
Yes, to lessen their burden, knowing how burdensome it actually can be.
As long as they're open-minded.
Yeah, as long as they're willing to listen to it, yes. I mean, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, kind of thing.
Right.
So we're wanting to lead all of you horses to water. At least it was an analogy with a donkey. So, but we're trying to say this is the water we drank from. Please drink it too. Yeah.
But it's also why our, everything we have gone through, we come together and we're better for it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So, namely being, if we're both the same type of person where it's, okay, this moment is horrendous. How do I make it the best? I realize there's things about me I don't like in this moment. How do I correct it? Like, we're always trying to improve and get better, and to have on our first date compare our Audible library, and they're all like, and like 75% the same self-help book.
Yeah, we went like full dork mode.
Business, I know.
Yeah, what audiobooks do you listen to?
Shows my glasses.
Most people can compare like bands and like music interests and stuff, or movies.
But it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I'm like so blessed to find somebody else who's been wanting to work through personal development, wanting to work on how do I not just like survive life, but how do I thrive through it? How do I grow through my life?
Right.
Yeah. And that's been amazing. Yeah. So, but like touch on a little bit, like we said about the introductions, we touched a little bit on some of the stuff you were struggling with, like you said, the separation, job changes. Was there any other struggles that you think of?
Oh my goodness.
The listeners might be able to relate to? All of them?
I'm like, how do I pick and choose? Sure. I mean, being younger and a dancer, but also having way more, like, my physique was always strong and muscular. I got it from my father, but it just got heightened in dance. So I was made fun of for my muscles a lot, my legs. I would go home crying constantly. I refused to wear shorts in the summer. I always wanted to keep my legs covered up because everyone made fun of my calves or my thighs were fat. Oh my God!
Which is insane.
But they're so strong. Like, they're so strong, but I did not appreciate it at the time, and so I had developed an eating disorder. I started to lose weight, common diet, and all of a sudden I started getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and then it just became like an obsession. And I didn't at the time I didn't know that there was like a metabolism, so I was burning everything I was eating, and I was like wasting away, and so eating disorders, but you got strange amounts of attention. Like, the unhealthier I got, the more attention I got, and that's weird mind.
Creepy with our society is you get awful. Like, as you get thinner, our society rewards that to the point of detriment to the human being.
My hair was falling out. I had to wear like fake hair, like in a ponytail, because like I didn't have enough hair. I didn't have my period for like 13 months. Something
Lord.
stupid.
Yeah.
It was awful. So, but, you know, that's when I finally got asked out on a date or where I got a solo and dance. And it's like, but I don't want to be rewarded for this, you know.
No, that's definitely not healthy. How
So
society
that was a lot, but that was years. And it wasn't until I was probably 29 that I realized it isn't just, you know, compulsive exercise, or it isn't just anorexia. There's, all right, the anorexia, exercise bulimia, or bulimia, compulsive overeating, and it was just like this cycle forever. So I went through that whole cycle, and stopping binge eating was a huge change.
Yeah.
And like that was really big, and that was something to go through. I had a tumor in my neck, and that was something to go through, and you know, other health news, and then having family, like my parents divorced when I was young, and I went to probably like 12 funerals before I was 18, so like death was way too common, and then
that's hard.
Just so many things, and then really toxic, very toxic, unhealthy relationships. I didn't even realize it was unhealthy. You know, then to come from like parents' divorce and half siblings and half in step families that were just, it wasn't healthy, and I didn't realize it probably till recently.
Yeah, you
right?
never
Just
really
a few
had
years ago.
a great example of what.
No.
Like, you'd see the family on, I don't even know the shows from, like, the 1950s and 60s. But, like, those shows, you would see, like, the, what are they, nuclear
like, what
family?
Is
what is that called?
Yeah,
like, like, where everything's cohesive and everybody's happy. And you're like, what is this
In
shit?
grad school, we had to do an assignment where it's draw your nuclear family, and, like, everyone's little image was, like, all really close together, and like all these little lines to each other, and these like happy hearts and stuff. And mine was like, how far can I get to each side of the page where it's like me, and then here, and then here.
I need another piece of paper.
Yeah. Can I use 2 pieces of paper?
Yes.
So it was just hard, and you know, I think a lot of times it's not something that you talk about, but all of that made me who I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it's been fun. Like, I've only gotten to know you in the last, we just did a Valentine's Day challenge and found out that we've been dating for 20 months.
Yeah.
So we're counting it like a newborn.
Toddler.
Yeah, toddler. So, so I've known you. In the 20 months I've known you, though, it has absolutely been true that everything that you've had to endure in just the 20 months, you've become. You've become a.
We
that's
didn't even
already
get into like the 2020
challenge. That's going to be a series of podcasts. But but you've been able to improve your life through those. Like, you've become a better person. You found what you could control within each moment. And you controlled the hell out of it.
Yeah.
So, like, at one point you had job struggles.
Oh my gosh, there was
you
a time...
applied for 600 jobs.
Yeah,
that's
that
not
was
even an
last
exaggeration. Year. That's 100% real. She applied for
gosh.
600 jobs.
It was a perfect storm of everything that could have gone wrong went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this weird virus thing seems to be like really kicking up in China. That's weird. And then all of a sudden, it's coming to the United States. But I have here's this amazing job offer. You've been wanting this. This is like finally the pinnacle of your career to date, and here's your offer, and I'm always paranoid. I check all the boxes because good things typically don't happen to me, and we'll talk more about that later, which is why I think that way. I check all the boxes and I make sure everything's safe, and I resign from my job because they say don't worry, we're honoring the offer, and the day before I'm supposed to start, they say, nope, we can't honor this. And I said, you're leaving me unemployed. It's a pandemic right now. Yeah, we're really sorry.
Yeah.
Screw you. You're not sorry. Oh, that was so bad.
Yeah.
And I applied to 600 jobs.
Yeah. You found out what could you control in that moment.
There
was
like
an enormous amount of
590 rejections.
Yeah. But
that makes you feel really good.
You did it. But you did it. You grew through that moment. Yeah. You took charge of it. Like, obviously, within any stress and challenge, especially a shock, there's an initial period of kind of gathering yourself. So you had the initial period. You then figured out what you could do, and you crushed it. You stayed proactive and you grew through it. And that's what I've been able to see in the 20 months is just how you've been such a good example of what we want this podcast to show.
Well, thank you.
Is that life is going to give you trials.
Oh, man.
And we can learn from each error to not make the same mistake twice. And I think that's going to be a huge thing for everyone.
Yeah.
Is just if you can learn from your first mistakes, you can then avoid the next ones. And you can live a kind of a progressively building upon better and better life. Yeah.
I agree with you.
Cool. I'm glad you did. Thank you. So, yes.
Yeah.
And then I've had some struggles, like most notably the most recent one, actually, today is the 10-year anniversary of my business. Yay! So that's pretty cool. So 10-year anniversary of Brutal Iron Gym. So I actually started in 2011, and on Valentine's Day, it was like a gift to myself because I was a poor loner and single at the time. Yes, which is probably a good thing because that business took all of my time.
Yeah.
But it's been 10 years, and I remember like when I first started, I was training 50 hours in person a week, face to face, 50 hours in person, plus writing all the nutrition plans, plus their training programs, cleaning the gym. I was, advertising, doing everything I could possibly do. I spent more nights a week on the cement floor in my office than I did driving home. And that's something that was a chosen kind of project. So I kind of chose my misery there. So I used to joke that what was a dream became a nightmare. Yeah. But I worked my way through it, and that's a very short way of saying all that. So that was something I've struggled with, and it's been a good struggle. Mm-hmm. And then when I was younger, you mentioned the eating disorders. Yeah. So I had an eating disorder when I was younger. I didn't like the way I looked. I felt kind of like fat. I was mad at myself for allowing myself to be mentally weak enough to become fat. And it was something where a friend of mine we were teasing each other one day, and he said, "At least I'm not fat." And I remember distinctly thinking that I wasn't mad at him. Right. I wasn't mad at him. He said something that was true. So I was mad at myself for allowing something I didn't want to be true of me to be true. So I then said, screw that, and I tried to take charge of it and make a lot of changes throughout my life. And I've been able to do that. But I think that's something that we can share, combination between our stories, like the people we've talked through, and be able to share to the listeners then, is in different life categories, what has been the challenges that we've seen people face and how they grew through it. So what are the methods they used, what are the resources they used. So whether it's relationships, whether it's, like you said, job loss, whether it's depression, anxiety, whatever it might be that your struggles that you're facing in your life, we would like this podcast to be something that can help you turn those struggles into strength. Right. Yes.
And not to say, I'm glad you mentioned that, because anxiety is very real.
Oh,
Depression is very, very real, and that's something where you can't flip a switch. No. It does drive me crazy when people say, "Oh, just put your positive pants on." Screw you! Like, what? Yeah. Do you know what depression is? And anxiety, and everything is so very, very real. So we're not saying, if you are struggling with that right now, don't think it's, just make the best of it and move on and you'll be stronger. It's like, no, that's gonna...
We want to give some real advice here,
that's which is,
like, it's a process.
I've been there.
Yeah, it takes time. There are going to be good days, bad days. I talked with a client recently, and they're relatively young, and they were talking about struggling with depression. Yeah. And they said, I had a really good day yesterday. They named some things that they had done, spent some time with family, did some self-care things, and they said, but I still had a bad day today. And part of me was remembering back when I was younger and saying, like, that'd be very defeating for them, because here they had a good day and they wondered why it didn't work. Like, why didn't it just fix everything? And I had to kind of take my time and talk through them and say, that's a bummer. Like, you did a good job today, but you're going to need to do that for a lot of days. Yeah. And we were talking about kind of the ups and downs, and we've all seen kind of the graph of success, where they say it's not a straight line, it's that big squiggly mark that looks insane.
And there's like a huge ditch and a cavern and like a black hole in the middle.
Exactly, yes.
Can't get out of it.
So I told her, I said, that's what this journey is going to look like. Yeah. But what is important that I wanted to get across to her, that we're hoping to get across through this podcast, is you don't have to go through that journey alone. Right. And you don't have to go through the journey unequipped. Yeah. Right. Like, we can help you know where to look and help you along the way. And in us helping you, it'll help us as well. So it's kind of a win-win. It's awesome that way.
Total win-win.
Yeah. So hopefully, I guess that was a good, really long introduction as to why we want this podcast to be.
Well, yeah, because we thought about it. Originally, we were talking about it, and mainly because when I found you, when I found Rob, to the listeners, that all of my friends would say, "You're so lucky." And I am so lucky. I'm very, very blessed. But I have said, I think I almost put it in my vows, that I would not wish the path I took to find you on anyone. And everyone always puts like the highlights on Facebook and Instagram. Facebook, I stopped 6 years ago. I don't even know what it looks like now, but
just everybody doing laundry and cooking meals. And,
all the babies, all the diamond rings. Yes. But because then I saw Facebook, because I was going through my separation and divorce, and I felt like a failure, and it was horribly embarrassing, and I couldn't go on Facebook and see the baby announcements and the wedding
see all those
photos, and I'm
damn happy
gonna
people.
be 30
Like, yeah.
and like, this sucks. This is dumb. I didn't want to be here, and so originally started, and I was like talking about rabbit holes. Like,
this is great though. It's good to
but
hear.
it was like we were going to talk about relationships, right?
Yes.
Because it's okay. Just because everyone says, we're so lucky, it's like whole lot.
It's not like we were just sitting there twiddling our thumbs and look.
Oh my god!
Us.
And then,
yeah.
Interestingly, I had no idea it would bother me so much that I lost my job in a pandemic. I kissed the best offer of my life at that time away. It was right there. And I remember the whole time, even through the whole interview process and the offer, I said, I don't trust this. I don't trust it. And everyone is just looking at me like this dark person that I am inside.
Just be happy.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't, this doesn't, good things don't happen. I can't be happy yet. And it wasn't until they're like, come get your computer on Friday, that I was like, okay, now I can start to relax. And 4 hours later, they called and said, just kidding.
Yeah.
We're pulling it. Lost health insurance. I'm already just getting sick in general makes me nervous. Now I have no health insurance and it's a pandemic.
Not
seriously?
the best of combinations there for anxiety.
No, and then so I'm trying to find jobs, and good luck finding a job. Everyone's shutting their doors. And then I try to apply for unemployment, and they deny me because they told me I left my job. I didn't leave my job. I didn't just quit in this time. I had an offer, and they told me, don't worry. Don't worry. They said, don't worry. Okay. This is why you don't trust people.
Yeah.
It's sad to say. But then, now I'm left in this. I'm having night terrors almost every night. Waking up screaming. And you had to, hold me so I could calm down.
Scared the crap out of me the first couple times, yeah.
It was really, really bad. But then I also, couldn't get anti-anxiety, no health insurance. You have to go see a doctor. I don't have a doctor. My doctor left the practice.
Yeah.
It was the perfect storm. We had a wedding coming up in December. I was in grad school. Still, somehow, saving grace, probably just killing it with grad school. But I applied to jobs 8 hours a day, and then I studied grad school 8 hours a day, and hardly slept. It was a nightmare, and I was having such a hard time.
Yeah.
Such a hard time. How are we going to pay for anything? I was working the debt snowball, and I was getting so excited. All my debt was going to be gone, and that had to stop. Everything stopped.
Yeah.
And I would talk to my friends, and my friends would say, at least you're Rob. And dismissed everything I was going through. No offense to you, Rob. I love you very much.
I don't fix all that. I can't fix all that.
What the hell do they mean by at least I'm Rob? No offense to you, but are you freaking kidding me? This is awful. Are my emotions not real?
Yeah, all that other stuff is still true. Yeah.
Hello? I'm sorry, but if Rob had magic powers to take all of that away from me, we probably wouldn't have to work the rest of our lives.
I would definitely have used them, yes.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm saving them for some other day.
I mean, and it's so funny because even when someone has it good and they want to say, I'm in a really hard season of my life. Thank God I have a supportive partner, because it just would have made it harder. But this is really, really hard.
Yeah, it doesn't negate how hard it is. It's just something that's at least a support.
It was so hard.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah, man, I lost I lost a job before, but it wasn't a pandemic, and what they call hustle. I hustled, right?
Yeah.
And met with a resume coach, made a resume, and applied to 100 jobs, and found a really great opportunity. But I also, I was trying to prep for a bodybuilding show, and the competition was in 2 months. 3 months before I lost my job, after I lost my job. So I lost it in January. My boss bought a $110,000 Mercedes and let me go the next day.
Yeah,
let's not even go there.
That was, your old job, yeah.
Yeah, so then, all right, that's great. Thank you. Meanwhile, I'm living in an apartment that I'm charging rent on my credit card because you had to stay separated from your partner for a year before you could even get a divorce. And I was trying to, I didn't know where to go. I was, couch surfing for a while, and I finally said, this isn't safe. There's another podcast in there somewhere, I'm sure. Yeah. So I'm charging, my rent on my credit card. A friend of mine bought me an air mattress to sleep on. So I have an empty apartment, no TV, no couch, air mattress.
Yeah.
I have pictures of my hives that I was covered in just from being so stressed out. I'm like, is this really my life right now?
Yeah.
Separation, divorce. My dad's not talking to me because he told me, how could you do this? I'm so disappointed in you. And then just stop talking to me. I have nothing.
Horrible.
I have nothing.
Yeah.
I was literally, I don't know what I'm going to do. This is not, I can't believe this is my life. Right? 29, turning 30. Holy crap.
Yeah.
This is totally the age when you have, like, the wonderful husband and the kids and the house. And okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's like, I could even call on that moment. Like, all that came back.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, if I hadn't gone through all of that before, I wouldn't have been strong enough to at least handle it. Now,
well, it's at least something
right?
that contributed. It's at
Right.
least a past experience that, by being successful through the past one, it helped you in your future one.
Yeah.
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 So it's definitely something that would have contributed to you being able to survive that moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it all boils down to, even in relationships, you have to, having the mindset, right? So a lot of people could say, woe is me. I don't know if there was really anybody that even knew what I was going through.
No, no one would have
No
known
one
the
knew.
depth that you went through.
No, not at all.
Uh-uh.
And because it's like, okay, well, this is the hand I'm dealt. I just handle it, and you just have to handle it out of a means of survival, and then that just becomes a habit in everything you do. And it's okay, how do I make the best of this? What am I gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I felt like, gosh, so many low points there, but it's like it really did make you who you are.
Yes,
Like
absolutely.
the times when your washing machine broke and you were washing your clothes with your hands in the washer and then sleeping on the floor. Like we've had some.
That's some fun ones. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So people say you're lucky. I'm like, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm blessed, but back up.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Well, that's like I forget the exact quote, but is when somebody would look at a couple of the things, like say for example, like where you are now, and like with me with the business being 10 years, they're gonna say you're blessed, and it's like yes, that is true. Mm-hmm. That I have been we've been blessed with opportunities. Yeah. That within that opportunity, we found a blessing. Right. Like we found a way to grow through it. Right. And it was only through growing through those moments that led to it looking like it's blessed, if that makes sense.
Right, exactly.
So we're all given challenges. We're all given struggles. We're all given crappy, horrible life moments. Yeah. It's the people who can gather themselves, organize themselves, and grow through those that then eventually look blessed. Right. There's never been a successful person that hasn't had some moment that felt like they were going to break.
Yeah, it's really 99 failures to one success.
Absolutely.
But no one sees anything about this.
They just see that one little thing at the end, But that's the thing is I think all of us are presented with moments that if we grow through them, we get to a place where someone can look at us and say we're blessed. Right. But it's each individual moment when you have that challenge, will you grow to it? Right. That becomes your choice. Will you go down the dark road, drugs, alcohol, other things like that, and just detrimental self-behaviors, or will you take that opportunity as a way to grow? And that's what we want to do in the podcast is, hey, if you're struggling with this is the experiences that we've had or seen. Mm-hmm. This is how that person or us has grown through it. Mm-hmm. Please do the same. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a resource, basically. We're trying to help others get to the point where they can look like they're blessed. Yeah. And no one ever know the crazy broken road that you took to get to that blessing.
But also, we see it a lot of times too when people tell us you're lucky, and it's like we have a good life, but we want to grow.
Well, we want to keep getting better.
But it's I've been in the job where I pull into the parking lot and cry because I didn't want to go inside for years, but terrified to leave, and I did it. Yeah. A relationship, that a marriage that if I leave now, I'm an absolute failure. How did I get here? And this is going to be really ugly. It's going to be really, really hard. So hard that it's going to be so hard I don't want to do it, but you do it. Yeah. Absolutely. And then it's like, then so many relationships that are just toxic. Yeah. But you feel like you have to stay in it because you're clearly the crazy one. Or you're clearly...
That's what they make you think, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or your standards are just too high. okay. And
Not a bull crap statement. Yeah. Just for life in general.
Yeah. But it's like, there's so many instances where I look at people and I see that they're complacent.
Mm-hmm.
Or they say, oh, I wish I could do it. Or I wish I could find the person. Or I wish, all these wishes.
Yeah, wish.
Do you know how many times we wished for things?
Yeah, it's like, are you working? Are you working for that wish? Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, long short is, it did want to be about relationships and being the best partner for each other. And how do we go through challenges that some other couples might face that maybe we don't face? And really coming at it saying, okay, it was because we worked on ourselves that we have such a good relationship.
Yes.
And then we realized, okay, wait a second, we worked on ourselves and we have a good relationship because we've been through some stuff.
We did a lot of work before we even met.
We've been through some stuff, yeah. So
like the name, like for example, Grow Better Together podcast is, you can grow better with your partner if you're in a relationship. And also, if you're single, grow better with us.
There.
Like grow better together with this podcast. Like grow better in the sense of, if you're with someone, share the moment, share the journey, and like we said, grow better together, stay connected, deepen your relationship. If you're individual, you're single, get ready for it. Like we did so much work to get ready for a relationship. And I'm very, very, very blessed that you did that, because it made our relationship that much stronger. Once I was able to find you, I knew that the prep work that I had done would have made a difference. And to see someone else who thought the same thing was a miracle.
Really
yeah,
is.
it really helps. So if you're single, you can still grow through what we teach in the podcast, because it's going to make you ready. It's going to make, when you do find someone, it's going to make it that much better. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
Well, I think that's pretty much everything we wanted to get through.
Yeah. Very
So
well.
good introduction. And then we'll be talking in the future. We had said like kind of some upcoming topics was growing like a healthy relationship, resources we've read, things that we think through, daily actions and stuff like that. So we'll talk a little bit about that.
Humbling yourself.
Yeah, humbling yourself is a big one.
There's a big topic there.
Yes, yes. And then like knowing yourself, we'll talk about like triggers for negative behavior.
Yes.
And how to kind of manage those, how to improve your reaction.
Know your love language, know your triggers, know know your musts, you know, just knowing yourself.
Yeah.
I see that not a lot of people really know themselves.
No, it's hard to look at yourself because we don't want to see flaws. We don't want to see things that are quote unquote wrong with us. Yeah. But they're still there. Whether you look at them or not, they're going to be there. So you might as well open your eyes. You might as well address it now before it becomes worse. Yeah. And then we'll talk about the importance of communication, like whether it's communication with yourself, communication within a relationship, communication at work even. Yeah. We've talked about the benefits of like proper communication at work and how that can solve so many problems.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I think we're going to have a lot of really cool topics.
Yeah. So thank you. And then if you think this podcast is something that interests you, you can always click like on the podcast platform you're finding us on. That helps the podcast be found better in searches. You can also share the podcast. You can share it on social media. You can share it with email, text message, conversation with a friend. And as you do, that'll help us help more people. All of us collectively, you as well. So thank you for that. And then they can find us on social media.
Yep.
Blog. Yeah, Grow Through Blog on Instagram. So that's all just one word, Grow Through Blog. And then we have an email. So Grow Better Together Podcast at gmail.com. That's all one really long word, Grow Better Together Podcast. And what we want to have that open for is if people want to send in comments, they want to send in suggestions.
Topics.
Yeah, topics. If there's something that you're struggling with and you're like, hey, I would love to hear an opinion on this or what you've learned with the people that you've worked with, we would love to hear from you. So the whole idea of the podcast is that it's going to be helpful in some way to others. So if there's anything we can help you with, please let us know. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, awesome.
Well, I think that was everything that we wanted to do. So remember, if you're going to go through it,
grow through it.
Grow through it. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Yes, and we'll see you in the next episode.
And happy Valentine's Day.
Yay! Cool.
Yay.